Welcome to the Crypto Swamp Creatures, the show you never knew you needed and still don't want anyways. I'm Christopher Alexander, your blockchain and advocacy communications expert.
And I'm Justin Wallin, your guide through the often murky world of politics and polling.
Every week, we dive into the intersection of crypto, policy, and politics without taking sides. We're here to give you the straight, data-driven analysis that influences the decisions of those who want to win or want to be elected.
Think of it as a late 80s newscast, but with a twist. We bring you the serious stuff, but with a dash of sardonic wit and just a hint of irreverence.
So whether you're a crypto enthusiast, a policy wonk, or just someone who appreciates a data-driven approach, this is your place.
We bring you both sides, weigh the impact on crypto, and then we share what we use for show prep every week on our Medium.
So remember, no one is as smart as someone who agrees with you. And now get ready to enter the no swamp zone. Welcome to the Crypto Swamp Creatures, America's, I guess now, best dressed podcast, according to our kind of exciting new partner, DYOR. So this will be one of the first episodes of the DYOR network. We've got one that they're going to put out that we did last week, Justin, but this is great news. We're wriggling our way out of the swamp into America's hearts.
It's a narrow band, I would just say. A very narrow band.
Well, as we do our normal attestations of swampiness, it's getting grim already. We're running out of things, but I'm wearing pink pinstripes.
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite suits. It's a very cool suit. You don't see a lot in the broader tonal coverage, and the pink pinstripes rule. So, in my opinion, hats off. Well done.
No surgical cuffs, so I shame you with that. But I will say it's funny that I don't think we're embarrassing him by saying this. I did some stuff. I was talking with a VGR lobbying firm. They're one of the top lobbying firms in DC on the Republican side, primarily on the Republican side. They're bipartisan, but great guy. I think he's managing director, somebody important, who I was initially connected to. And just through strange mathematical probability, every time I met with him, he was wearing the same suit. And it was just probability, right? Guy had maybe 4 or 5, and then but every time I met him, he was wearing the same suit. And I'm like, and it happened to be pink pinstripes. I'm like, that's really cool. But so you remember it. So it's like he wore a Navy suit. Every single time I met him, like 5 times. And so finally one day I'm like, hey, I won't say his name, but I was like, hey, do you have like 5 of the same suit? Is this like a Steve Jobs thing? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, every time I've ever met you, you're wearing a gray suit with big pinstripes. I think it's cool, by the way. And he was like, no. I goes, it's so bizarre. Just I always met him random days. So,
Listen, if it was, I would empathize. The vast majority of mine look really similar. There's only very, very subtle differences. So it's in suiting, things looked very, very similar, except for a few explosions of brightness, which are rare.
There you go. We'll have to do another one. We'll talk about pocket squares. Let's actually talk about crypto. Although who knows whether this makes people like us or dislike us. We'll find out with the metrics. A big issue that's dominating headlines is crypto literacy. Big study came out talking about crypto literacy really holding everyone back from getting more into crypto. I think I kind of dragged you into crypto after I was dragged into crypto, and it's very, very difficult to get going without someone who you can call and say, "Oh my God, what's happening?"
Yeah.
Directly. It's a huge problem. I remember Coinbase had that commercial, Super Bowl commercial a couple of years ago where it looked like an old DVD where, it was like the thing to move on the screen so it didn't burn an image in. And it was like a barcode or whatever. You're like, oh, it's brilliant. And I said, listen, it's brilliant advertising. Apparently their website crashed. So many people went there and then no one knew what to do.
Yeah.
Right? Because I guarantee you what happened was they signed up for accounts. And they thought that when they signed up for a Coinbase account, that meant they were now in crypto. And of course, they have to create a wallet. They have to get the seed they have to do all of these other things. And it's bewildering, confusing, and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah,
so
it really is.
Let's, I like to start here. Our good friends in the banking sector like to talk about how simple everything is in banking. Obviously preying on an audience that never had to have a balanced paper checkbook. But, one example I've given, like doing media hits, is I say, imagine 50 years ago, you walked up to someone and said, take this plastic square, it represents your money, and stick it into the side of a building and money will come out.
Right.
They thought it was entirely crazy. So financial literacy, maybe still, is kind of baked into your education, or someone teaches it to you. And so it is complex, right? You got to go to the bank, you got to fill out paperwork, you got to present an ID, maybe. No, that's right. You have to present an ID to get a bank account.
Yes, you do.
So, you go through this whole technical process, and you have to understand what's going on, savings account. There's a lot going on. And you kind of learn through osmosis. You pick it up. You're taught it at some point in your life. That doesn't happen in crypto. You have to engage with it. And as we were doing show prep, Justin, what were there were two terms you were like, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, it's I'm sure it'll be cringeworthy for listeners, but you mentioned non-custodial wallets and staking, and don't know. And I'm happy to take the heat for that, but I think it reflects the realities around the tension within crypto and the desire for enthusiasts for it to be accepted and adopted and more widespread, and also the desire to hold on tight to everyone being highly literate within their particular passion. There's tension there.
The blessed white paper. Yes. So why don't we break down a couple of concepts? Let's just start with our exciting cliffhanger, the custodial, non-custodial wallet. So basically all that means is that when you have a wallet on an exchange like Coinbase or Kraken or Binance, if you're feeling particularly lucky, given their regulatory hurdles they've gone through, you don't entirely own your crypto. There's a saying that they love, not your keys, not your crypto. Keys being the seed phrase and the custody of the wallet. In other words, when you have a centralized platform like Coinbase and you open an account there and set up a wallet, they can pull things out of the wallet. If the exchange, it's in the terms of the contract, terms of service actually. If they go under, then they pull everything out of everyone's accounts, and then they satisfy, they have a bankruptcy proceeding.
Right.
So the little guy doesn't do well. That's what happened with FTX initially. And then Bitcoin made so much money, they were actually able to pay everyone back. It's an issue. It's not yours entirely. Am I saying don't keep money in Coinbase? I'm not saying that. I keep some of my crypto in Coinbase. But when I get large amounts, I do take it out. So now we get to, what do you mean take it out? What do you do with it? Well, a non-custodial wallet is what's known as a cold wallet, which I have one.
And let's be very clear about that. That is exactly the same as every time your account at the bank gets above whatever your particular definition is a lot. It could be $100, 100,000, $1 million, 100 million. When it gets to that point, you dance on over to the bank with your duffel bag and you get your large amount and you stick it underneath the mattress at home. That's what you're doing.
Yes. And why would you do that is the question. Like, why do you put money in a bank? Well, a bank is protected, insured, and all these things so that you don't have to worry. You want to keep your money there. You're encouraged to.
Right.
Doesn't work that way on an exchange entirely. There's a risk. That money is not insured. If that, air quotes here, bank, if that exchange where your wallet is at that's holding your cryptocurrency goes under, there's no guarantee you're going to get it back. So the best thing that you can do is hold on to it. The other reason in a non-custodial or cold wallet, the other reason to put in a non-custodial wallet is just cyber security and safety concerns. You're not going to get your account drained when it's under your mattress on an encoded, basically hard drive. So I cannot recommend it to people.
You're right, but I mean, ultimately, should you lose it or it be stolen from you, you're still at the will of whomever is there. It's just not a direct transfer where someone could take cash and run off and spend it however way they wish. I mean, they're unable to crack it. Presumably, all things can be cracked, but presumably they can't. And I get that there's a degree of security, but it reflects the challenge of DeFi, right? I mean, the problem is you do not have that level of security, and you have to have an appetite to tolerate that. And then there's all the other components with it, human error, I mean, which we are all subject to. The joke of Post-it notes and passwords. Well, I mean, come on, we do that because we're fundamentally idiots. We forget things. I say that without judgment. That's me. You forget stuff, and you don't want to have your little bar of gold that can only be accessed through a password be sitting there mocking you for the rest of your miserable life if you forget it.
Which can happen. Now they have created backups for it. Supposedly, a few of the different cold wallet manufacturers, but you've hit on a real problem. No one is going to help you. Okay, I have a pretty sizable amount of cryptocurrency on that memory stick, and if something goes wrong and I don't have my seed phrase written down, if I have a problem, like that's it. Too bad. Now there are groups that will help you try to hack it, and the kind of white hat ethical hackers. But again, like think about what you're getting into at that point. So I would suggest this: if you're going to do this, because you're holding it for the long term, the reason you take it off of the exchange is you're holding over the long term. So what do I have on that thing? I have a whole bunch of Bitcoin, because I'm holding Bitcoin for what do they say when it goes to the moon and my bags are filled and stacking sats, whatever.
So you're wearing it's my tinfoil suit and you're ready to go.
It's my McLaren fund. So take a picture with a Polaroid of the seed phrase. Never use your phone, because they'll go through your phone, they'll find the picture, and they'll take your seed phrase from you. They being hackers and highly professional ones at that work on this stuff. So take a picture of it. And get a safe deposit box. Put the cold wallet in a safe deposit box. You want to get super technical, store the seed phrase separate from it. But point is, you got to know your seed phrase, and you got to put this thing somewhere safe. Now, the poor man's option is actually for your seed phrase, not for the wallet. You can put it in plastic and put it in your freezer. If there's a fire, typically refrigerators actually are fireproof.
Right.
Maybe the wills are documents. Right. Do not put the wallet, do not put the electrical device in the freezer. Repeat that, I feel like I'm not going to say it. So that's going to be the key. But back to other larger crypto literacy issues, you kind of need someone to take you through it. And believe me, Coinbase, Kraken, these exchanges, they are trying to figure out how to make it easier. But, all you need to know about crypto literacy is the daily inflows of the Bitcoin ETFs. People are like, you know what? This is a headache. I'll just pay some kid in a zip sweater at BlackRock to do it.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's what's alluring about it. And it's literally just resolving that complexity. And people are willing to pay for that. And when the purists scream that's heresy. By the way, the first time I hear that stuff, I always think it's the same thing that happens when people's favorite band when they're 18 gets their record label. Oh, you sold out. When the purists
it's the second. I'm sorry, I have to stop you. It's the second album they put out, and it's totally different from the first one. Anyway,
yeah, you know who I'm talking about. They exist. That's the challenge, right? You can't get widespread adoption when things are complex, and to really get strength within a community, you need that when you need to defend yourself against, for example, governments that are strong and big and have essentially unlimited resources. When you need to convince them that what you're doing is reasonable and rational and good for the world and not just you, this takes the ability of a large group of constituents. You need to have a lot of people invested in your well-being and in sharing your views. And look, for good or ill, most people just aren't willing to put in that much time. And the reality of that is they're not willing to do it because they don't have the time. Think about the stuff that most folks deal with on a regular basis and that really consume their time. And it's very hard to suggest to them that this is worth, however much time it may take, 30 minutes, 2 hours, 8 hours, whatever it might take to get actually reasonably literate. It's just not going to be there. So to me, I think that's one of those things that hopefully the community can make peace with and ease that, because even with the risk, people's appetite for risk is greater than their appetite for annoyance. So that's you got to make sure that math works for them.
Absolutely. And if you want to dip your toe in the water and you want to pay a kid in a zip sweater at BlackRock to set up your account for you, which is essentially what you're doing, getting you a wallet and all that. I exaggerate mildly. They don't get you a wallet. They make the trades on your behalf. But fundamentally, you would be doing that. If you dip your toe in because you're curious about this, that's great. But if you want to do more for anyone watching, first of all, you shouldn't invest in a technology that you don't know how it works. I'm pretty sure that's witchcraft. So, take the time. At least sign up, get a wallet, go through the process, at least try and understand that piece of it, because the beginning of crypto literacy really is signing up for an account, creating a wallet, and that involves, getting a 12-word seed phrase and understanding that piece.
And again, this is not terribly different from the complexity of going out and getting a bank account, right? And if you're annoyed by it, take a breath, do at least those little things and figure it out. It isn't that big of a hurdle. It's well worth it.
And this is a stereotype and it's not really Ayn Rand's philosophy, but do you remember the Simpsons episode where they were kind of poking fun at Ayn Rand? It was an Ayn Rand school for young children or kindergarten.
I don't know.
So basically, I think it even said, there's like science. Basically, it was like, no one's going to help you. And the little toddlers would fall over and they're like, get up.
You're on your own.
Right. And it's not quite her philosophy. I appreciate that. So, I don't want to now get all the objectivists mad at us like everyone else we irritate. But, I mostly like Ayn Rand's stuff. But it was literally a cartoon, which was The Simpsons. But it was like, no one's going to help you. That is cryptocurrency. All right, that is lone wolf, rugged individual, Jack London pirate story. Like, you have no one coming to help you, and the first time you send, say, 6 digits worth of cryptocurrency around, it is a nerve-wracking experience. So I recommend you send $1 as a test. Anytime you do something, we can, and maybe have a little tutorial we can post somewhere for people, but it is a nerve-wracking experience. No one is going to help you. So take your time, figure it out. And the last thing I'll say is, on the literacy side, when you're filling out your, you get a crypto wallet, and the wallet's just a big, long address of a bunch of characters. What I recommend you do the first time, or anytime you're sending money actually, is look at the last 4 digits and the first 4 digits of the wallet address and just double check that, because it's way too many characters for you to check all of them. You're not going to realistically do that. But check the first 4 and the last 4, because one of the wildest scams has been for people using their mobile phones. They copy a wallet address because they're moving money between accounts or sending it to people, and then they paste it in. It has to be Russians. They figured out a way to, when you hit the copy button, they have access to your phone. They change the wallet address, and then you paste it and you don't know it. So it literally changes, in the computer.
Yeah.
And then comes out. So learn how to do it. Be careful, and don't take shortcuts, because there is a multi-billion-dollar industry. I think they've hit $1 billion now, certainly cumulatively, of criminals who figure out how to take advantage of you when you decided to take a shortcut. And lastly, if Coinbase, listen, we were just joking yesterday, Justin, about customer service or the lack thereof. No modern large company is going to call you to help you. Okay.
Doesn't happen. It would be nice if they had a for new users thing, a little tutorial and that sort of thing.
They do. They do.
Okay.
They do. But Coinbase is never going to reach out to you with a live person to help you. Ever. Okay. And I'm sorry, I say Coinbase here. No one is going to do it. Try to ever get a human being at Google. In fact, we should put up like a bounty, right? Like,
let's have a
$1 million if you get someone on Google to answer. So no one does it. So I'm not even picking on crypto, and I certainly am not picking on Coinbase.
Right.
Modern companies automate and avoid as their strategy for customer service in most cases. Certainly fintech companies, certainly everybody in crypto. You're not getting to anyone. They have a low overhead. So no one is going to reach out to you because your account has a problem. So if someone does that, the first thing you need to do is you need to send a message to Coinbase. Because if you're proactive, Coinbase will respond to you, to be clear. And say, hey, I have a representative from Coinbase contacting me, something going on with my account. That kills 99.99% of the schemes that are out there. Because what they're doing is they're replicating Coinbase. They say there's a problem. And one of the more ingenious ones, they said, look, I can't have your full seed phrase, but I need to verify that this is your account. So give me the last 4 words in your seed phrase. For those that don't know, seed phrase is a series of words that you're given to help you secure the account. It's like a crypto cipher. Well, 4 is enough to reduce the permutations,
Absolutely.
right? So then they drain people's accounts.
Yeah.
So
you pretty much just don't believe any of it ever. And just like with banking, if you're doing a wire, if you've had someone say, hey, my wire information has changed, you call that person and you speak to them and you verify it. Everything must be verified as close as you can to in person, which is, picking up the phone using this. So at some point they'll be able to impersonate that call. That's one of the beauties of AI, I assume. But as of now, it's not doable. So that's important. By the way, one of the things, but when you wrap up talking about that component, there is something else to speak about that particular research study. So it speaks to a larger issue for the crypto community.
Yes. Well, we'll get to that in an upcoming episode. And by the way, I was on TV talking about this one. There is a way to deepfake voices.
There you go.
And replicate. Now, the way they do it right now is because it's imperfect, right? You put stress on the target. So the way it's really working is they say like your daughter's been kidnapped because she's got TikTok or whatever, and they pull the voice off of there. And then they have a bunch of canned phrases. So it's like, one of those old keychains that would just say things.
Yeah,
type of deal.
But that's that's them reaching to you. The big the technological challenge with it is that I call the recipient with a known phone number, right? An existing phone number. That's the hack that doesn't exist yet. Presumably it will at some point, but that's a pretty challenging thing to do. But yeah. I don't doubt that at all.
I'm sorry, I had the wrong scam.
The inbound call. Yeah, no, you can't trust inbound communications.
All right. And I believe you met the man who worked at his library, The Immortal Worlds of Ronald Reagan, trust but verify.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, awesome. All right. Well, that wraps it up for our episode. Look for our episodes coming out more frequently and in less length, which I guess is great for everyone. The less of us, the better.
That's it. Yes, the appetite dims.
And that's all for this week on the Crypto Swamp Creatures.
We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the intersection of crypto, politics, and policy.
Remember, the data doesn't lie, and neither do we. Well, not about anything important anyways.
Until next time, stay informed, stay skeptical, stay out of the swamp.